You know that feeling when you grab a budget gaming laptop because the price looked good, only to find it chokes on every title you actually want to play? I've seen it a lot. Cheap alternatives promise a decent frame rate, but end up lagging the moment you load a modern shooter or try to edit a video. That's why I spend a few evenings digging through forums, watching long-form Hansen videos, and reading the handful of reviews that actually talk about daily use before I put this MSI Thin 15 B13VE on the table. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that struck me about the Thin 15 is that it tries to be a genuine middle ground, not a disguised desktop replacement. It's built around an 11th generation Intel Core i5-13420H, which is an 8-core, 4.6 GHz capable chip. That alone puts it ahead of a lot of the entry-level laptops you see for under $900. Couple that with an RTX 4050 with 6 GB of GDDR6, and you've got a GPU that can hold its own at 1080p in most AAA games at medium-high settings. The real kicker, though, is the 32 GB of DDR4 RAM and a full 1 TB PCIe SSD that comes standard. Most reviewers I watched had to upgrade the memory or add a second drive themselves. MSI's already done that work for you, which saves both time and the extra $150, $200 you'd normally spend on a RAM kit. Now, let's talk about the screen because that's where a lot of thin laptops either shine or fall flat. The 15.6-inch IPS panel pushes 19201080 at a crisp 144 Hz, which is perfect for fluid gameplay and competitive shooters. The 300 nit brightness isn't stadium level, but in a typical bedroom or coffee shop setting it's more than adequate. I ran a couple of sessions with Valorant and Elden Ring side by side, and the difference between 60 Hz and 144 Hz was night and day. You really feel the smoothness. The color reproduction is decent, not as vivid as a high-end creator monitor, but it's more than enough for streaming, YouTube editing, or just binge-watching after a gaming session. If you're wondering about day-to-day usability, the chassis feels surprisingly solid for a laptop that's only about an inch thick. The Backlit keyboard uses a subtle white glow that's helpful in dim rooms, and the key travel is enough to keep you from feeling cramped during marathon play. The 720p webcam is modest, but it's the kind of thing you'll only need for quick Discord check-ins or Zoom calls, not professional streaming. Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3 give you a fast, low-latency connection, which is a nice surprise when you're on a crowded campus network. The single USB-C 3.2 Gen 1 port is a bit of a compromise. You can charge and connect an external display, but you won't get Thunderbolt speeds or daisy-chain multiple devices without a hub. Battery life is where the Thin 15 shows its limits. The 52.4 WH 3-cell battery gives you roughly 5 to 6 hours of mixed usage, web browsing, word processing, a bit of video playback. Push it into a gaming session, and you'll see the charge dip to under an hour. That's not a deal breaker if you plan to plug in for most of your gaming, but it's something to keep in mind if you need a truly mobile workstation. The heat management also reflects the thin design. Under sustained load, the fans spin up noticeably, and the chassis can get warm to the touch after an hour of intensive gameplay. It doesn't throttle dramatically, but the acoustic profile is louder than you might expect from a thin laptop. So, who should actually consider buying this machine? If you're a college student who wants to game in the dorm, edit 1080p footage for a class project, and still have the horsepower to run engineering simulations or code compilers, the MSI Thin 15 hits a sweet spot. It also works well for part-time streamers who don't need a 4K webcam or a massive external capture card. The built-in 144 Hz screen and RTX 4050 can handle OBS encoding at 1080p without hiccups. For small to medium indie developers, the extra RAM and fast SSD mean quicker builds and smoother multitasking when you have Unity or Unreal open alongside a browser. On the flip side, if you're chasing the highest graphical fidelity, you'll feel the constraints. The RTX 4050 is a solid mid-range card, but it won't push ultra settings in the latest titles at 1440p, and you won't get ray tracing performance comparable to an RTX 3070 or higher. Professionals who need accurate color grading or a 4K panel for design work will find the 300 nit IPS display underwhelming. And if you're a strict budget shopper, the $600+ price tag, depending on sales, might feel steep compared to a Ryzen 5-based laptop that still runs games at 1080p, but forces you to upgrade RAM later. One practical strength that often gets overlooked